Welcome back. Chapter 8, Allowance. In this chapter, you will learn how to create, edit the allowance, assign the allowance to employees, understand the different method to handle allowance, use the function recalculate and reset at process payroll, create ad hoc, use formula for time attendance function, and import time attendance value from Excel. To set for allowance, location is Tools, General Maintenance, Allowance. In the system, we already set some of the allowance for you, but I would like you to learn how to edit and add later. For now, help me edit the name for Payroll, which is this one. Payroll, edit the name to Travel. Make sure your setting enable pay EPF tax, social EIS and HRDF. Select tax exempted rules. Number 1, petrol allowance or toll. We will set for exemption and click Save. Next is select shift, edit shift, change the name and specify how much you get from this allowance. In travel previously, we don't set the amount because that could be different from person to person. Now for shift allowance, we are going to set whoever receive the allowance for shift, they will get the same amount, which is 400. Now edit shift, add 400 at the back. This time, click add formula. Add 400 as in amount. Scroll down a bit. Click Save. Both of these allowance, I would like you to help me assign it into one specific employee, which is Ironman. Location is Payroll, Employee, Employee Maintenance. Edit Employee Ironman. Under Addition and Deduction, add a new payroll item. Select Travel and Shift and click Apply. Help me edit allowance for travel. Enter amount, $500 and click Save. Again, there is a button like a diskette. Click Save again. So and you will get amount 400 for shift allowance, 500 for travel. When you complete, click Save. We will process a month-end payroll for April only specifically for Ironman. Location, Payroll, Payroll Management, Process Payroll. Create new payroll process. Select type is month end. Select month, April. This time, I would like you to search for Iron Man and click Iron Man name. This means I only want to process payroll specifically for one person and click process. Now you are at summary page, which only one employee, which is Iron Man. I want you to help me click at detail. Look at Iron Man allowance column. How much did you get? 900. Where do I get this? You may hover your mouse. There will be a hand sign. Click the amount. Allowance received from Iron Man is from travel and also shift. 500 and 400, total 900, and click close. Next, in previous allowance, it is called a fixed allowance. Our next task is to assign a variable allowance. But this allowance is without the formula, only amount. Let's try it out. Go back to your allowance setting, tools, general maintenance, allowance. Click at attendance. Edit. Make sure it's enabled. All is enabled. And click save. Assign attendance into Iron Man. Go back. Payroll, employee maintenance. Edit Iron Man. Click at addition and deduction. Add another allowance, which is attendance, and apply. This time, just leave it blank. Do not need to enter any amount. And click save. Go back to payroll management. Process payroll. We would like to include newly added allowance, which is attendance, into Iron Man. There is first method, which is you can delete and recreate again, or I suggest to you another method, which is you just click edit for the month of April for Iron Man, process payroll, click at detail. If you look at my screen, it's cramped. Some of the button is hidden. You can maximize it by click at the line. On top, there is line. When you click, it will close the panel. Now you can see a button called reset. Click at reset. Click yes. Whatever setting that you create or you add in outside of the process payroll, like example, the one that we just add in, allowance, which is attendance, you need to have them into this process payroll. Just click at reset. It will update the whole process payroll. Now look at the allowance. Amount still the same, but when you click at the amount, it will show there is one added allowance, which is attendance. Edit attendance. Help me enter the amount for attendance, which is 200. Click save and close. Observe the allowance amount increase, but your job not yet done. you need to save and recalculate everything back. Look at the deduction. Look at the example EPF. Now is 451. Click at save and recalculate. It will include the allowance together. Now the amount become increased because the changes in allowance. Done. But if you add in this method, when you reset back, it will reset the value back to 0, only for attendance. Let's try it out. I click yes. The amount back to 900. Why? Because these two allowance we add in the employee maintenance, but we insert a value. While attendance, we don't insert any value. We only insert the value during the process payroll. We edit and we add in the amount. Which when we do that, when we reset, the amount will back to 0. Next task is, I'm going to show you another method to add in allowance, but this time, if you reset many times as well, the amount will still be available. Expand, click at payroll, ad hoc payroll item. Enlarge, select Iron Man, select month of April, add in new ad hoc item, which is allowance for attendance, enter amount, which is 230, and save. Go back to your process payroll, edit month of April for Iron Man, click detail, reset your process payroll. It should increase and the amount will be there even though you reset several times. It won't be missing anymore. Next is variable allowance with formula. I would like you to go back to your allowance, which is tools, general maintenance. Under allowance, edit allowance for meal. Click at formula. If you scroll down a bit, under time attendance, look for formula by the name work this. This one. There's two methods for you to apply. First, you just drag. Second method, double click. And with workday formula times 5, meaning each workday will be daily 5 ringgit. Scroll down and click save. Assign the allowance into employee Iron Man. Add a new payroll item. Click meal and apply. You can see there is a formula appear, work days 5. Click save. Click at payroll management, time attendance. This time, we will import time attendance with value into our system to calculate how many work days for Iron Man. Click import button, month of April, month end payroll type, import time attendance, chapter 8, C8, time attendance, and click open. Save. Before you save, make sure the setting is workdays 20. Next is payroll process. Reset month of April payroll process for Iron Man. Observe the allowance column increase 100 ringgit. Click close. You'll get the amount 1230 for total new allowance. Next is variable allowance with formula, but we don't use time attendance function. Just click at your allowance setting again, tools, general maintenance, allowance. This time I would like you to create a new allowance, which is living allowance. Code, click new, enter code, living. Description is living allowance. Setting, all enable, formula, others, month, working days. Time 10 and click save. Assign the living allowance into employee Iron Man. Addition and deduction, add new payroll, click living and apply. Save and proceed to process payroll, reset the process payroll, and observe the allowance increase again, this time to 1940 due to living allowance 260. Click close. What if I change my calendar setting not based on 26 day? Because in a living allowance, the amount applied because of the fixed day 26 day. Now we change that setting and we try it out. General maintenance, calendar, select default, edit, change only month of April setting to specific working days 21. Click, do not click apply, click straight away, click save. Save your calendar before you proceed. Reset your process payroll again. Observe due to change of working day in a month, what happened to our allowance? It reduced to 21 days and the allowance become total 1440 and the living allowance is 210. Close. In this chapter, you have learned how to edit the allowance and assign the allowance into employee. That goes to fixed allowance, variable allowance, allowance with formula, and allowance with import time attendance using Excel. Later chapter, we will show you how to use your time attendance. In this chapter, you have learned how to edit the name of the allowance, how to assign the allowance into employee, what is the difference between fixed allowance and variable allowance. Now we try to enter some of the formula and we use the button recalculate and reset, and we add in ad hoc item into the payroll process. In the payroll process, we run only for month of April for specifically one employee, which is Iron Man. Next, we change our calendar setting. Based on the calendar setting, it affects the numbers of working days in a month. That's the end of chapter 8. Next chapter is chapter 9, deduction.